Thanks for returning for part 2 of 3D Sketch. There are two ways that you can start a 3D sketch. You can go to the 3D Sketch in the Sketch toolbar, or you can go to Insert 3D Sketch. 3D Sketch just pops you into your workplace, and when you start sketching, it may be a little bit disorienting because you're pretty much free to do what you want. You just have to learn to work in a structured way so that you're not just drawing lines out in space somewhere. Notice that on top of the regular sketch origin, the red sketch origin that's inside there, there's this larger, thinner red sketch origin, which is for 3D sketches. People often start sketching from the origin just to make sure that they have a grasp on reality. And so we'll do that, but realize that what it's doing, even though we're in a 3D sketch, right now, anything that we sketch is going to be on the plane established by this red origin. If we click on the origin, notice we're getting yellow indicator lines, and they show that we're basically on a plane here. If we go straight up, we're getting a sketch relationship that says along Y. And you can see the available sketch relationships over here. Sketch relationships in a 3D sketch are slightly different than a 2D sketch. So if we sketch along Y, and then we can continue to sketch on that XY plane, this time we're along X, and we bring this down, we're again along Y. Okay, I'll press escape to get out of the line tool here. What we've got is pretty well constrained, enough for us to drag it around. One of the things that we can do is try to line this endpoint up with the other endpoint. So there's two ways to do that. One would be to click on the other endpoint and to give the along X relationship. This would be like making a horizontal relationship in a 2D sketch. That's one way to do it. Another way to do it would be to take these two lines and make them equal. Okay, so now we can still drag this sketch, but that endpoint is going to stay along that line, directly horizontal from the origin. We can apply some dimensions. And dimensions in 3D are also a little bit more difficult, but let's start off easy here, and we'll apply 180 millimeters and give this a distance of 100 millimeters. We can continue sketching, and I don't want to sketch on this XY plane anymore. I want to draw a line that goes pretty much in the Z direction, but not right on the Z axis. So to switch this origin up from the XY to another plane is you'll just press the tab button, and notice it switches. So we can get any one of the three standard plane directions using this. The YZ direction looks good to me, the YZ plane. And so I'll click and drag out, get the along Z direction. Now I want to go this way. It's not letting me do that, so I'm going to press tab. Okay, now I'm doing that. Let's go along the X, and then we'll click back and go in this direction back to the endpoint of the other lines. So now we can click on this line just to get it straightened up and say we want this to be along Z. It says make along Z, but it really doesn't mean that. It means make parallel to Z, or make in the Z direction. Notice that moved a little bit. If we click on this line, again, make along X. It's not really on the X axis, but we're going to make it parallel to X. Now we can keep sketching, draw in some more lines. Okay, a tab to go that way, snap to along Y, and the same thing here. Select this, control select, and make them all equal length. I can even put on a dimension here, and it becomes fully defined. Now let's add some more lines that might represent additional elements in this frame or whatever we're constructing here. I can pick up the midpoint if I want to, but I don't really want to. I do want to make a line that starts from this sketch line and goes over to here, and then hit tab and go over to here, and I'll need to hit tab again, and I'm trying to snap to my along axes relations, okay, and then just go back to the point where I started. All right, and now this should take a single dimension to fully define it. I can fully define it from the bottom or from the top, and we'll just say this is 40 millimeters. Fully defined. That's fantastic. And that's the end of part 2. Come back for part 3, where we learn some tricks on how to deal with 3D sketches.